The Squirrel and the Badgers. I would like to tell you a story about a very industrious squirrel. She would leap from tree to tree, gathering nuts every season. One summer day, she spotted a pine cone high up on the bough of a pine tree, and she just knew there would be delicious pine nuts in there. She usually gathered acorns, but she was tired of their flavor. Well, actually, it was because the acorns had not come into season this year, and her tummy ached, but she didn't want to think about that. The sun was shining hot in the sky, and just as she got ready to jump, she was temporarily blinded by its light. She missed the landing on the pine tree and went tumbling to the earth below. She bunked her head on a big rock on the ground. Feeling skull-crushing pain, she was sure she was finished. To make things worse, a tough-looking gang of badgers came wandering by. They sniffed at her as if to eat her up. She knew she couldn't even defend herself if she tried. They were so big and their claws were so sharp. And here she was, helpless on the ground with not one but two broken legs. But do you know what happened next? The meanest-looking badger of all came and scooped her up, held her in her big mama badger arms, and announced to the rest of the badgers, "Now listen up, you mean badgers! You are not to harm a single hair on this squirrel. We know it's going to be a long and difficult winter ahead, and we need some expertise on how to store food. Sure, we can eat this squirrel today, and then we're going to be hungry again tomorrow. All of our food has been spoiling, so instead of going hungry this winter, we're going to rely on this squirrel for what she knows." The big mama badger looked down at the squirrel in her arms, and the squirrel knew that even though she was badly hurt, she suddenly had an opportunity. The mama badger asked her, "Well, what do you say?" The squirrel brightly nodded. There were no acorns out here anyway. And so that winter, the squirrel taught the badgers how to store things in their burrows properly, as only a squirrel really knows these things. They showed her how to catch earthworms and to gather roots, while she showed them how to pickle the earthworms for when the ground was too hard to dig through in the winter, when it got too cold and frozen. Everybody had a full belly here happily underground, so that when the spring finally arrived, as it always does, the squirrel popped her head out of the honey badger burrow, all healed and feeling terrific, ready for a new year of acorns and pine nuts and exploration. Finally, her eyes were bright. She could see the green forest surrounding her, welcoming her back. She stretched her legs and took a long, deep breath, practically snorting up the scent of fresh pine. Close by, she could clearly hear the songs of the colorful birds she had missed for so long. With stinky badger hugs all around, she was ready to go, eager to jump from tree to tree again. She waved a brief and tearful goodbye to her big badger family. She would especially miss her mama badger. But, of course, goodbyes are temporary, and they still got together all the time and made spicy pickled earthworm and acorn stew together. The end.